Coram Pere 5. Snotius and his band of greenskins were indeed on Coram Pere 5. He had no idea the significance of that name. Snotius, the great conqueror, eyed his captive after his great victory.
That sounds like a stupid name. I'm calling it Crumpy 5 instead. So, is we the biggest, stompiest boys you lot ever fought?
What?
The Greenskins! Is we the toughest you lot ever fought? Is you shaking in your boots? Did you send your biggest and best boys?
Honestly, we didn't even realize there were orcs here. We sort of thought some bandits had raided the town.
Huh. Alright, what can you tell me about Big Town?
Big Town?
Yeah, Big Town! The place with all the Yumis down that way.
Oh, you mean Grosserstadt? What about it? Gerhard Schmidt is the mayor, I guess. There's a brigade of PDF there.
Ah, so more fighting Yumis is there. Right, Brain, that's all I need to know. This one's all yours.
You'll be most useful in my experiments.
Before the Humi could protest, Snotius gave an annoyed cuff to the back of the Humi's head, knocking him out cold before he went about his business. Snotius had many things on his mind. First things first, orcs love to fight. But in order to fight, they need gubbins. And in order to have gubbins, orcs needed to build gubbins. Or steal gubbins. Or bully someone else into making their gubbins for them. Snotius went about doing the latter, and decided on new projects for the fledgling empire to undertake. In Megahumiopolis, Da Brain and Da Furious began work on a new killer can and a new truck. In Wolftree, spider-like climbing squigs were bred to accompany the tree-oriented scouts. The mining operation in Big Cave was going well. Until it wasn't. For you see, the greenskins had dug too greedily and too deep, and awakened something in the darkness. But that deserves its own story. We simply do not have time for it. In Orkburg, rumors were spreading that the Red Garbo would return one day, and some reported hearing revolutionary songs echoing through the streets of Orkburg. But no Grot or Snot was ever caught red-handed. In Snotantinople, Pegleg, the ancient snotling from the earliest days of Snotopia, completed the design for his greatest work ever, a grand temple to Gork and Mork that he dubbed Da Phrygia Sophia. Once the design was handed off to the Bildergrots, Pegleg hopped on a truck up to Megahumiopolis and lent his aid to Da Brain. There were still more rumors of an orc that heard the voices of Gork and Mork themselves, and it spread all throughout of Snotopia, and it was speculated that this orc was probably going to be Head Yella of the Phrygia Sophia. Meanwhile, the goings-on in Byzantium were always of the utmost secrecy. Rumor had it that those sneaky boys were doing something so secret, even Snotbo himself didn't know what it was. And finally, in Easton, which had subsequently been dubbed Weston, most of the work was being put in to link the isolated town with the rest of the Greenskin Empire. And the denizens of that place were putting most of their efforts into road building. On the horizon, there was more fighting to be had, and more greenskins were popping out of the ground every day. And they all needed to be sorted out and organized. As much as greenskins are ever organized. Especially in the wake of the latest fighting. For they had lost quite a few grots in Megahumiopolis. Fortunately, Gretchen were popping up all over the place. In Byzantium, Snot, Grot, Gringo, Six-Shooter, and Paint by Numbers emerged. In Snotantinople, there was Young Sniff, Zassi Daka, Sun Tzu 2, Gimme, Gob Ross, and Snottergarden. In Megahumiopolis, Too Fast and Too Furious rose to continue working on the trucks and other things that go fast. In Big Cave, there was Samurai Grot, One Eye, Mr. Rogers, Bonehead, Grocchio Grift, and Crash Grotticoot. Fewer orcs emerged, but their numbers were slowly growing. In Snotantinople, 2 orcs emerged named Double and Trouble, and they clawed their way out of the ground. And in Byzantium, they had quite a bumper crop with 6 orcs. Hammer Time, Red Shirt 6, Gary, the Greenfoot, Jason Bourne, and Toofy. With so many orcs appearing in one place, their combative, competitive blood began to boil, and the 6 orcs immediately came to blows, punching and kicking to establish their superiority and bigness. Now, Byzantium was ruled by none other than Snotbo himself, and with the emergence of all these orcs, he would no doubt be challenged for leadership. Snotbo had a choice. He could either back down and accept the leadership of an orc, or he could stand his ground and fight against the physically superior foe. He would simply not submit to any younger greenskin. He would fight, and he would either die or mutate, just like Snotius himself. The orcs had scarcely cleaned the dirt out of their ears when they came to blows. Punches, kicks, headbutts, and bites were exchanged amongst the orcs, until bumps and bruises and broken bones had been properly distributed. In the wake of the melee, none other than Jason Bourne emerged to challenge Snotbo's rule of Byzantium. By the time the smaller greenskin heard of the orcs' emergence, Jason Bourne had already secured himself some rudimentary sneaky gear.
"So, you're the boss of this place," Jason Bourne sneered. "You's too grotty and runty to be boss. I'm the boss on account of I's much bigger than you. But you ain't got the brains or the cunning to be real sneaky. I'll challenge you to a sneak fight. Sneakiest, killiest greenskin gets to be boss." "Fine. How do we prove who's the sneakiest and killiest?" "By sneaking and killing each other." "You know that makes sense."
Snotbo and Jason Bourne quickly melted into the foliage on the edge of Byzantium. Jason Bourne quickly tore up a bush right out of the ground and hid inside of it, moving with the bush from spot to spot as he stalked his prey. Suddenly, Jason Bourne noticed a barrel in the middle of Byzantium that wasn't there a moment ago. So, very sneaky-like, the orc crept up upon the barrel. Then, he seized the lid and was about to stab down into the barrel when he saw Snotbo clinging to the bottom of the lid. The mutant grotling nearly dropped onto Jason Bourne's face, but the two ended with stabbers pointed at each other's throats. "Looks like this one's a tie."
Yeah, we can't kill each other when we're both looking. That ain't proper sneaky.
Jason Bourne closed the lid, and the two adversaries vanished once again into the shadows beneath the trees. Bourne crept his way back into Byzantium, this time hiding within a hollow log. He even made sure he had an eye hole so he could spot Snotbo. And spot him he did. Hiding in the hollow of a tree, Jason Bourne could see a big green nose and shining little eyes in the darkness. He carefully worked his way towards his victim. He would claim victory. He would become boss of Byzantium. He could rename it Bournezantium. As these thoughts ran through his head, Jason Bourne tossed off his disguise and grabbed Snotbo hiding inside the tree trunk, hauling him out. He pulled out the corpse of another grot that had been stabbed and stuffed into the tree as a decoy. Jason Bourne's eyes widened as he realized what was happening and looked up. The last thing he saw was Snotbo's blade coming down as the mutant came screaming from the branches above. Snotbo buried his stabber into Jason Bourne's head, and the orc collapsed. So many victories of Snotius were met with adulation, celebration, shouts of joy, bellows of war. But the victory of Snotbo was the victory of all those who lurk in the shadows. As he walked through the streets of Byzantium, stabber bloodied, there was nothing but silence.
No man do they call me, my mother and my father, and all my comrades as well. Thank you all for listening to the latest episode of Growing the Tribe. If you enjoyed what you heard, please leave a like and a comment so that one day you can prove that you are sneakier and killier than all of your rivals. If you would like to hear more stories about greenskin knife fights, then please subscribe to this channel. If you would like to support me, you can do so by joining my Patreon, checking out my Teespring, or donating to my PayPal. And finally, if you have absolutely no idea what's going on, you can click on the link on the screen right at this moment and watch the series from the very beginning. Thank you all once again for listening. No Man out.